Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Let's Talk Grief. And this is your host, normally, Lakecia. And this is the City of Hearts where we deep dive into real conversations, we explore raw emotions, and we hold space for parts of grief that most people don't talk about out loud. So, this is where love, loss, anger, healing, and truth all gets a seat at the table. And tonight is a special night. I will be interviewed on my platform by someone who is near and dear to my heart. But she's gonna pull it out of me, my story. So, without further ado, I would love to bring our co-host, correction, our host for tonight to the stage. Let's welcome Tracy.
Hello, hello, hello. How we
Hey,
doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
How you feeling?
I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm in the front, in the limelight tonight. And typically, this is not my spot, my seat. So it's new. How are you, though?
I'm great. I'm great. I'm great. I thank you for accepting my challenge of me interviewing you on your show. Kind of like a Tracy takeover.
Yes.
But I want you to feel comfortable and I want you to think of this like me and you just sitting on the phone or sitting face to face, just talking about real life, your life, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
with that being said, let's get into it. Where you
No,
want to start?
well, before we get into it, I would love to take a moment and pause to honor Taekwon on today.
Oh, thank
Um,
you.
so tell the world a little about Taekwon.
Whew, I told you I was not going to cry today. Okay, so those who don't know, Taekwon was my oldest son who passed away in 2019, today, 7 years ago. Um, and he battled bipolar schizophrenia. And of course, he passed away from being hit by a train. So when I thought of the date to come on, what better way to do something in his honor today where I won't be sad, where we're honoring his auntie, you
Yeah.
know, um, and he would be all for it. He would be like, Auntie Keisha, like, what's good? So this was my way of not being sad today and honoring him, but also wanting to get to know you because you interview everybody, you spearhead for everybody else,
Yeah.
and nobody really knows your story
No,
because you want to be behind the scenes.
always behind the scenes. That's where I belong.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Not tonight. Not tonight. You're not going to be behind the scenes tonight. Um,
Yes. So typically, I am behind the scenes, and so this is very real to me. So I'm very honored that you chose me to share this space with you on tonight. You know, I know what today is for you. You've been in my heart, my thoughts and prayers all day, but for you to take the moment to be selfless and decide to share this moment with me and get to know a little about me, I'm honored. So thank you, and I
thank
love you dearly.
I love you. I always say there's no karmic blessing than doing something selfless for somebody else, right? And both of my boys were selfless children. They always did for everybody else. Um, and if you haven't read your books, if we haven't read your books, this is your opportunity to tell the world because you are behind the scenes. You are the one pushing everybody to be at their greatness. I remember when The Love Language of Grief, the first volume came out, and my chapter was done on Taekwon's birthday.
Yes.
And you poured it into me. He was like, you could do it, you could do it, you could do it. And so, ironically, his birthday and his death date, we are doing something, you know. So,
Yeah.
thank you for giving me the opportunity to just pour and love on you. But enough about Tracy. We gonna talk about Miss Keisha.
Ooh, well, let me get comfortable, girl.
Get comfortable. Do you need something to drink? Do you go get you something to drink? Do I need to? I can't drink no wine, but I could show drink me some cranberry juice or some apple juice or something like that. What you drinking?
I got a little water in my little
Got a
cup.
little water. You sure it's water? You sure it ain't no Uncle Tito's in there, girl? All
No, it's water today. It's water. I no, I would love to share my story. It's time to share my story with the world. Yeah, I've written about my story.
right. Hmm.
Um, but a lot of people don't read.
People don't read these
People
days.
don't
Now
read these
you'll
days.
see me going in and out like a true journalist. I'm
Mhm.
writing as I'm talking to you, but I'm listening and I'm paying attention. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna start with a series of questions, and then however God leads me, that's where we going. Okay.
I'm here for it. Let's do this.
All right. So take me back to your childhood. Take me back to the environment you grew up in, where you from, where it started, all of that.
Okay. So I'm born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee. Um, the the oldest child. On my mother's side, I have an older brother on my father's side, of course, but I'm the only girl on both sides.
Hmm.
So, um, growing up for me, it was it was different. Um, my grandparents were my world. They were the sunshine of my life, literally. Um,
So when you say different, elaborate.
so when I say different, um, I struggled within from a very small child. Um, I struggled with a lot with my mom. There was a lot of breakdowns. I didn't have that mother daughter relationship. It was lack of nurture, lack of affection. You know, to stay in a child's place, that was like a stickler in my household. Like, I didn't my individuality wasn't cultivated or things of that nature. And I know now, you know, the dysfunction that was there and why it was there. But growing up in that environment, it was hard. It was hard
Mm.
to navigate. With my father's side of the family, um, I felt a little more free to be who I was. I felt more accepted on his side, but however, I received a lot of trauma from my dad himself, so I would be excited to go to that side of the family because I was always excited to be around my cousins. It was a lot of them, my aunts, but when the mention of my dad came up, I would clam up. Um, Anxiety would take over. I was afraid of my father, for a lot of reasons. So,
You want to
yeah,
talk about that? Like,
yeah,
okay, so the question is, was your mother and father in the same house? Were you raised in the same house with them, or was
no,
it
no.
no? Okay.
Um, I actually wrote about it in my book, so let's just talk about it. My parents never were in a relationship. I am the product of a fun time, one night stand.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just talk about it as
That's
it
brutally
is. What it
honest.
is. It's
Thank you for
brutally
your
honest.
honesty.
Thank you. It's the truth. So I never really encountered my mom and my dad in the same space growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my mom, she wasn't a nurturer. She was not a nurturer. She was not affectionate. And pretty much the only time that I received any type of attention from my mom was when I was being scolded or told that I look like my ugly ass daddy or, things of that nature. If I tried to hug her, it was like, why? Why you want to hug? Get away from me. So that really diminished me at an early age. I didn't feel beautiful. I didn't feel loved. I didn't feel seen, which led to suicidal thoughts at a young
Mhm.
age.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of anger, lots of anger, rage. Um, and I escaped through reading books and writing. So writing has been a part of my world since I could write.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. So you speak on your dad, right? And you said you would clam up when the mention of your father's name. Why was that?
Um, fear, fear. I witnessed domestic violence with my father, specifically with his wife. Um, that lady, just honestly speaking, that lady got beat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If I
Mm.
cried to go with her, he beat her. They fought a lot. My
And you saw
dad,
all that. You and your
yeah,
siblings saw that. Okay.
yeah, I saw that. And my dad, he's never honored women,
Mm.
never had respect or value for women. So that was a lot as a child, especially a girl.
Yeah.
That was a lot to endure, see, and be a part of, Um, so I feared him. My dad, he did a lot in the streets.
Mhm.
Um, I remember finding my dad stabbed outside of my grandmama's house.
Did you say
Like,
stabbed?
yes, yeah, like it
Mm.
was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot, and parents don't realize how their actions affect their children, and so a lot of that I battled for years, well into my 30s, because I didn't know how to release it. I didn't know how to heal. Of course, healing now is a part of my everyday life, but back then I didn't know how to work through the things that I had experienced as a child. Um, Imagine being teased at school and teased at home, that
Mhm.
does a lot on your mental.
Especially at a young age, especially in that development, those development years, those teenage years are
Yeah,
really important. And so, wow, I got to take a minute because your story is powerful, and it also reminds me of my past. You know what I'm saying? Um, so, how did you feel like as a young girl growing up, like being in relationships? Did you ever feel safe? Did you ever feel like, because you didn't know what healthy was.
I
So,
did.
did you, when you were in relationships, did you associate if they yelled at me or if they hit me, they loved me kind of mentality? Because a lot of times people pick up those traits. They pick up that, well, that you don't love me because you ain't calling me out my name, or you don't love me because you ain't hitting on me. So how did that shape you growing
That's a
up
great
into
question.
to womanhood?
So that's a great question. So let's go back because on top of the trauma that I experienced, I also suffered with health condition, PCOS,
Mm-hmm.
at a very young age.
For
So,
those that don't know what PTOS stands for, explain.
PCOS is where your hormones are imbalanced,
Mm-hmm.
and in most women, it causes you to grow hair in unwanted places.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly for me, what was like my chest, my face, and this was at an early age. So imagine I didn't like my skin because I was always told that I was fat, black, and ugly. I hated my skin color. Um, I always thought I was fat, and when I look back on my pictures now, I was not fat. I was fine. I wasn't
It
fat.
was PHAT, pretty hot and thick. Okay.
Yes,
Okay. Okay.
absolutely. So all of that played on my mental, and then going into the dating years or young adult years, the guys would always say things about my booty because my booty was big. So that was the first thing that caught their eye. Um, so for me, I really wasn't into dating. and into young men. That was not my focus. So I developed a defense mechanism as the mean girl. Anybody who went to school with me, I was the mean girl. I would pop off, and it was a defense mechanism to keep you at bay. I didn't want people to get close to me physically or emotionally, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Physically, because I didn't want you to get close, because kids are cruel. I would have kids to get in my face and be like, "Ooh, what's that? You got hair on your chin," or "Ooh," things like that. And then emotionally, I didn't have a closeness emotionally to anybody outside of my grandparents. So I'm keeping everybody at bay. If the people that I want to have the closeness with, my parents, and if I can't have that with them, then I sure can't trust you with it.
Right. Right.
So um that was me, just the mean girl. Mean girl. And so when I did start to date, um, I settled.
Mm.
I settled for anybody who was interested in
Mm-hmm.
me. Um, I would see the potential in that person versus seeing the flags or
The
seeing
red
the person
flags.
right for who they really were. I settled, but I didn't develop the thing about, oh, if you hit me, you love me, because I was the aggressor. I mean,
Whoa.
I was the aggressor, so I developed. Um, if you got too close to me or if you yelled at me, I became afraid. I'm gonna hit you before you hit me.
Mm.
That was
That
what I developed.
that's whoa. That's brutal honesty,
Yeah,
because a lot of people don't get honest about the part that they play. You
yeah,
know, they're quick to put it on other people, but that took like brutal honesty for you to say, I was the aggressor. Like, so if you yelled at me first, I'm gonna slap you. Or I'm gonna, I'm gonna punch you in your throat.
yeah,
Keish, that's deep. That's
yeah,
whoa. I'm speechless.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I
Okay.
was the aggressor. And I think that stemmed from, of course, going back to seeing my father,
Mm.
and how he handled women. I refused to allow a man to handle me that way.
Mm-hmm.
Although it did lead up to that eventually, but starting off, I was the even then, I was the aggressor. Um, I was the aggressor. There's no other way around it. Because that was my way of protecting myself. Before
Mm.
you get me, I'm gonna get you.
Right.
Yeah.
And you went through that for
I
years.
went through that for years. So after my first daughter, father, I was aggressive with him. We fought, left him alone, and then the guy that I got with afterwards, he was different. He thought he was gonna beat me for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and so we fought.
Right.
But I feared for my life because we would fight to the point where, and he was so muscular and bigger than me. I knew one wrong punch, he was gonna kill me.
Yeah.
And so I made it my business to get away from him as quickly as I possibly could. And it took me a moment. I remember my 19th birthday. Um, I just come home from work. I worked 16-hour shift that day. And I was laying in the bed tired, didn't have the money to really go out and do anything and just didn't want to be bothered. It was my birthday. And he wanted to have intercourse, and
Mm.
I wasn't feeling all of that. And so he cocked back and hit me. And when he hit me in my face, my mouth, it split my mouth in four different spots.
Mm.
And we went to fighting, and he bruised my ribs really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did get away. When I got away, um, I was just like, I can't do this. Like, I can't even beat him. He's overpowering me. Like I can't do this. And so um at that point I was just like, let and this is disclaimer. I didn't kill the man, but I wanted to kill the man.
Okay, you heard it. She put the disclaimer out
Right.
there. She not on the first
Right.
48. She ain't on Snap. She ain't on Law and
No.
Order Special Victims. She good. She didn't
No.
kill the man. Now she said she wanted to, but she did
Yeah.
not. That's the disclaimer out there.
But that stuck out to me really. It stuck out because of what happened, and I was so young, and I didn't have anyone that I could confide in
Mm-hmm.
about it. Because I come from a very judgmental family, a very
Mm-hmm.
judgmental family. So being open and honest about, things of that nature, your vulnerability, it
Mm-hmm.
was not accepted in my family. My family was very judgmental. Um, Anything outside of what they could consider to be norm was unnormal, and so, but for that stuck out to me because I remember looking at my daughter and I just felt so ashamed. My baby girl, she wasn't even a year old, and I didn't want her to experience that. So that right there was like a heartbreaking, gut wrenching moment for me because it's like I done brought this baby into this world. All I know is this, and I don't know how to break the cycle, but I know I don't want my child to go through this. Like
Right.
I'm gonna protect her at all costs. So
Right.
that was a really self-aware moment in my life that I knew. Think I became overprotective of my girls
Mm-hmm.
after that
Mm-hmm.
because it was like, nope,
You had
mm-mm,
no choice.
yeah,
So there's a lot of trauma, right?
mhm,
At a young age,
yeah,
trauma. So let's talk about trauma, survival, and identity,
okay,
right? So you just told me about the story. You were like what, 18, 19 when you with when you got when he hit you, the
yeah,
your first child was born.
yes.
Who, as a young woman, how did you navigate through that trauma? Like how did you what was your coping mechanism? You said writing, you said, you didn't have anybody to go to. So what could you do to cope with all that pain and all that trauma right there at
Working,
that young age? Writing,
working and
working.
numbing. So working and numbing, smoking weed, drinking. I would work and I would numb. And that was my daily life, working and numbing. I would work 16, 17, how many ever hours you need me because I mean, I love money. Who didn't love money?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, but
Yeah.
numbing, once I came back to reality because work was escaping my reality.
Mm-hmm.
So once I came back from working, I got to go back into reality. I need to be able to make it through this.
Mm-hmm.
So numbing, heavy smoker and heavy drinker, at an
Mm.
early age. Yes.
Coping with dealing with all of that stuff, everything you've seen in the past, and then it going into your own adulthood.
Yes. And
Ooh.
knowing that I wasn't living the life that I wanted to live. Like my goals were to graduate and go to college to become a
Mhm.
lawyer.
Oh,
And I wanted
a
to
lawyer.
yes, I wanted to be a lawyer and I wanted to escape my reality as far as my family dynamic. So I applied to none of the schools locally. I was applying to schools in Rhode Island. I was applying to schools like, get me the hell away from here.
Yeah.
I'm going far.
Escape.
Yes,
Escaping. Escaping.
yes,
Ooh, take a minute
yeah.
and breathe. How you feeling?
I'm good. I'm
You
actually
good?
good. It's like the more when we started off, I was very nervous, but as we're talking, I'm relaxing more. So
You
yeah.
relaxing? You
Mm.
drinking that water in your cup?
I got my water in
Ain't
my
no
cup.
water. It's not no water. So one of the questions that stood out to me, or one of the things that I was thinking about, so after going through all of that stuff,
Mhm.
how are you different in relationships or choosing relationships now? Personal, personal work, everything. Like how seeing all that you've gone through, going through what you've gone through at a very young age, how does this shape the core of the relationships that you deal with now? Because you're like when you're in your 30s, right?
I'm in my 40s.
Are you in your 40s? Hey, you know, okay, you know, I'm
Yeah.
25 plus shipping and handling. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. But how does that shape the relationships that you're in now?
So I'm not in a relationship. I'm single by choice.
Mm-hmm.
Communication
Mm-hmm.
is very key to me. Um, Transparency is key to me. Also, emotional intelligence. And honestly, a lot of people in our culture, they suffer from the lack of having emotional intelligence. So it's kind of hard for me to, I'm not even going to say hard. It's just I haven't connected with anyone on that level um,
Mm-hmm.
that I see myself moving forward with. Um, Genuine. If you're not genuine, I can't rock with you. Energy don't lie. And I stand on it wholeheartedly. I've done enough work on myself, so my confidence level and my self worth. I know my self worth now. I didn't know it then, but I
Okay.
know what I deserve now, and I have non-negotiables. So that's that.
Oh, okay. Give me three non-negotiables.
Oh, absolutely. Well, one is the lack of emotional intelligence.
Mhm.
That's number one because if we
Mhm.
can't get past that, we ain't getting nowhere.
Right.
Secondly, also, if if you have numbing mechanisms, that's a trigger for me, and I can't go for that because I know that you're not growing, you're not healing. Because
Mm-hmm.
in order to heal it, you gotta feel it. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's something that, of course, socially, drinking, smoking, whatever, however I'm not judging you. But if that's something that you rely on heavily daily, that's that's a sign that it's some underlying issues that you haven't dealt with or don't want to deal with, and I
Yeah.
can't do it. Can't do it. Sorry.
You gotta feel it and then heal it. You know, you
Absolutely.
gotta go through that. Do you ever feel like you had to be strong for everybody
Girl,
while
yes.
hurting on the inside?
Absolutely. My entire life. My entire life.
Really?
Yes. Especially in my 30s.
Mm-hmm.
My 30s, it was, well, first of all, I lost my grandmother 7 days after I turned 31.
Mm.
And my grandmother
This
was,
is the grandmother you spoke about earlier.
yes, the
Okay.
light of my life. Yeah. My mama's mom.
Mm.
Losing her was sudden. So it was a big blow to me. She was my best friend. Me and my granny talked every day, all day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she was a glue. And so honoring her, I kind of defaulted into those shoes of being the glue.
Mm-hmm.
And I also inherited being the caregiver for my grandfather
Mm-hmm.
when she passed away. No one could take care of him like I did because she groomed me
Mm-hmm.
to take care of him. And so I already had my children, and yes, my entire life, though, I've always been the nurturer, the one to take care of people, to step up when others wouldn't. So it was second nature to me, but my 30s stick out because even when I didn't want to, I had to. And that was
Mm-hmm.
hard. That was hard,
Mm-hmm.
Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
That was so hard.
Mm-hmm. Because
Um,
you pretty much lost yourself. And you still trying to be there for everybody else, and
I,
then trying to take care of everybody else and not taking care.
Yes. And then you know how the families break down when the matriarch passes away.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, even though I did the good deeds, it was not recognized. It wasn't honored. It was more, I received more backlash
Mm-hmm.
than I did. Um, anything, you know. And it's always been like that. I always been a kind of I don't call myself the black sheep. I don't like that word. I call myself the prima donna.
Even
So
better.
I was the prima donna of my family because
Hmm.
I I've always been vocal. Um, if I believed in something, I stood on it. And I'm gonna let you know that I do. And then
Standing on business.
if you want to square up, we can square up. But
Standing
I'm
on
not wavering.
business.
Right, right. So that was a lot because at that time I wanted my family closeness. I needed my family closeness. I was grieving myself, but no one saw that, you know. I tell people they was always say, "You so strong." I mean, what else can I be if strong is all that I can be? You know,
Right.
I so support matters, community matters because if
Right.
you don't have it, it makes the journey 10 times harder.
All right. So you're a mother now, right? And
Yeah,
your story. How many children do you have?
I have to.
Two girls.
Yeah,
So, when we become mothers, it changes us. What we
yeah.
went through as children, or what we went through, we don't want our children to go through, especially girl children. Now, you're a girl mom. I'm a boy mom, of course. So,
Mhm.
you know, it's mothers and their boys and dads and their girls, right? So, becoming a mother emotionally, how did you? I'm trying to articulate what I want to say. Becoming a mother, how did you like? We go into protective mode to protect our children. Like, what I know you wanted to break the curses of generational curses. You didn't want the
Mhm.
same things for your children. So how did you incorporate that into your everyday motherhood of protecting them, or you know keeping them? I don't want this for you, and girls gonna go their own way. They're gonna do what they want to do when they want to do it. But how did you break the cycles with them, because they're amazing girls.
Yeah, they are, and I'm so grateful. But let's be transparent and honest. I initially wanted to parenting the way that I was parented,
Hmm.
and at that time, I thought I was protecting my babies, but hell, they probably was needing protection from me. Be-
Wow. Okay.
and I always tell my girls, I want them to walk in their truth, stand in their truth. So don't ever think you have to protect me and water down your story to protect my feelings or my heart or my reputation. Don't do that to yourself. It
Hmm.
ain't an honor to me. That's a disservice to yourself. Don't you ever do it.
Hmm.
So I went into parenting. I didn't know anything about parenting. Let's be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you, Tracy. I didn't know anything about womanhood. My mama didn't teach me about my cycle. You know, that came when I saw that down there, and my stepfather stood at the door and slid a sanitary napkin under the door and said, "I'm just gonna tell you how I see your mama do it."
Hmm.
And that's how I learned.
Wow.
Yes, because
Wow.
things like that was not talked about in my household.
Hmm.
Um, we didn't talk about things of that nature at all. So, I went into parenthood blind. I didn't know how to be a mom. I just knew to mimic the things that
But honestly, not to cut you off, who knows how to be a mom? There's no handbook, there's
no.
no playbook, there's no mom book 101.
Yeah.
Especially, how old was you when you first had your first child?
Oh, I got pregnant with her at 17, so I was 18 when I had her.
You
Yeah.
was a baby yourself. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
absolutely.
there's no blueprint on how you learn as you go. You
Yeah.
know, so don't beat yourself up on you.
Oh no.
Don't
Absolutely
don't
not.
don't do don't beat yourself up on,
Yeah.
because don't nobody have a playbook to become a mother or a
Mm,
dad for that matter. You know what I mean? Nobody
no.
nobody says, here is this is what you do from the time that they know. You kind of emulate what you saw,
Exactly. And
emulate what
that's
you
what I
saw.
did, but it was not good. I remember my daughter being, I think she was 7. I want to say 7. Now one thing I did do, I always gave my children a voice because I felt like my voice was snatched. So
Mm-hmm.
I cultivated their individuality from day one.
Mm-hmm.
I did not raise my children to do everything the same, or I may have dressed them the same, but um definitely knew that they were individuals from day one. So
Mm-hmm.
that was something that I'm proud of. I cultivated their individuality. Um but when it went back to, again, whoopings and things of that nature, that's the first thing we resort to. And so I remember whooping my daughter. She was 7, 6 or 7. And the look on her face was complete fear and utter disgust
Mm-hmm.
with me. And that broke my heart, Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew then, I said, it got to be a different way to discipline your child. And I did. I started to talk to my children. So my girls can count on one hand how many times they have gotten a whooping. Now she got one afterwards, but that one right there, she asked for. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sometimes,
right,
listen.
that was it.
Sometimes you gotta.
Yeah,
Oh
she talk
God!
about that one to this day, baby. That one came with a whole pot of chicken noodle soup. Cause what?
What?
But
Yeah.
I made it my business to, sit with my children. Now they got punishments and things of that, but um I I didn't want them to feel what I felt when it came
Right.
down to the whoopings and things of that nature. And let's be honest about it. What I know about it now, that's a form of oppression because that's a form of control.
Mm-hmm.
It was done to
Mm-hmm.
our ancestors, and they just picked up that learned behavior to get control of the situation.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Um. What has motherhood? I get this question a lot too. What has motherhood taught you about love,
Oh,
about resilience, and forgiveness?
oh, that's a great question. It's taught me a lot. Um, Unconditional love was the
Mm-hmm.
first thing that I learned um, when it came down to love with um, motherhood. My oldest daughter, when she came home from the hospital, I had to have another emergency surgery. So I didn't go home with my daughter. And when I came home, my daughter was attached to my mom and my aunt. And so that crushed me. But I knew, regardless of how it made me feel, I didn't turn my back on my baby. I loved her even harder because
Mm-hmm.
I wanted her to know her mama. Um, I My life no longer went before hers. It taught me that,
Mm-hmm.
at the age of 18, I wasn't selfish. I wasn't thinking about oh, I want to go out and party, or oh, I'm gonna do this. Or no, my first priority was being a mom. Now, when that little one came along, my youngest daughter came along, it was just like I was the center of her world. And that deepened my connection with unconditional love. Like I can yell at her, but she gonna come right back, Mommy, I love you,
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I
Something
mean,
about them babies, the youngest ones. Mm-hmm.
man, I still get chills now just thinking about how much they taught me about love and
Mm-hmm.
unconditional love. They taught me empathy. They taught me the resilience. Of course, the resilience came when I couldn't make a way out of no way, but a way was made.
Yes.
My kids wasn't going without. So having my children saved my life.
Mm.
I tell anybody that those girls saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
Because as I said before, I had suicidal thoughts before. Um, I've been in a psych ward before, not for a long time, but that's because I tried to take my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, you have to go get evaluated when you try to do something
Yeah,
like
they want
that.
to make sure you are right.
Absolutely. So, my children, they did save my life. And The suicidal thoughts, the wanting to take my life, that was a cry out. I
Yeah.
couldn't voice it, but I had to get it out. And that was a
Mm.
cry out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was up the. Mm,
Yeah.
I love you, girl.
I love you. I
You
love you.
okay?
I'm good. I'm good.
Right. We getting ready to go into a different part of this
Okay.
because a lot of people want to know your journey with grief, right?
Mm.
And whew, you've lost like multiple people, right?
Yeah.
So take your time, and I want you to share um, those losses, who you lost, and the time frame, because I know it was a couple that were back to back, back to back. So take a minute because this part of it is who you are now. Because let's talk grief. Because we got to know Keisha from a little girl. We got to know her in her motherhood. But now we want to know Keisha in this moment, in this season, because this is the season that you're in, right?
Yeah.
And this is the avenue that you've gone through writing books about. You doing speaking engagements, you encouraging other people, you walking people, including me, through grief. So let's talk. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
Um, you got the floor.
Let's start with my grandma. No, let's start with my aunt Shell.
Okay.
She passed away in April of 2015.
Mm-hmm.
And although I've experienced death of loved ones before then, she knocked the wind out of me.
Mm-hmm.
To go from being on the phone with her literally 30 minutes before, and she like,
Mm-hmm.
niece, I'm gonna take my hair down and you gonna do my hair and I'm barbecuing this weekend and all y'all come over. She's talking about her nieces and nephews because she was out turn up auntie, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um to getting a call, making it to work, literally clocking in and getting a phone call saying, um, a phone call from her phone. And I'm like, what's up, auntie? And my cousin's screaming in the background. I'm like, what is going on? And she like, auntie, gone. What? I love you too, sis. Thank you. I love you too, Kendra. And I am praying for her. She just recently lost her cousin who was a brother to her, and I know their dynamic. So I'm definitely keeping her lifted in prayer. Um, it it took everything out of me because when I struck out that door running to that hospital, I didn't get a chance to see her before they stopped visitation. I made it um right before. But that was my go-to auntie. Like when I left my mom's house, I went to Kendra's house, the one that she's commented,
Oh, the one that
stayed
just came in the chat. Okay.
stayed there a couple of weeks, and then I ultimately moved with my aunt. And so she helped me with my oldest daughter,
Mm-hmm.
so that I could work. She was my support system, so we were very close. Um, 3 weeks before she passed, literally me and my auntie moved my whole house together, just me and her. You know, so that was my girl. And to lose her like that so suddenly, that did a lot to me. It did a lot to me. It did so much to me, because I didn't know how to, that type of grief was new to me.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't know how to navigate it. Um, and life has a funny way because 6 months later, it was my granny. Now you tell
Mm-hmm.
me two of the most influential, most important women in my life,
Mm-hmm.
6 months apart?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be kidding me. Like this ain't life, this ain't living.
Right.
And my grandmother transitioning um threw me into a whole nother state, not only because I didn't get to grieve my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
I went straight into a caregiver's mode. for my grandfather. So I didn't
Mhm.
have the opportunity to grieve my grandmother.
So
Like
you benched your grief to take care of your grandfather.
I benched my grief to take care of my grandfather, planning the services and just day to day life for my grandfather. Like I didn't have the opportunity to grieve my grandmother.
Hmm.
To be honest, I just literally started to grieve my grandmother this year,
2026.
2026, and she passed in 2015. Yep.
Oh, oh.
So yeah, that was
Mm.
a lot. I, so after losing my grandmother, of course, I went into caregiver mode for my grandfather. Went back to Houston, just went on with life, you know. Um, and then September of 2019, I dreamed of my grandmother
Hmm.
for the first time. She had come to me at all, and I dreamed of her. And it was a morning time. I just got out work. I worked the night shift, and she just gave me this look like, get ready, like some shit was about to go down. But I knew that look. She didn't say a word. She just got, I knew the look. And
Hmm.
from there, life just spiraled for me. So my house caught fire, I lost everything. I ended up having
Hmm.
to move back to my hometown, which is Memphis, and
Hmm.
um, got back here and I lost my best friend.
Mm.
Sat on the phone with her for 3 hours. We had planned to get together that Friday. Friday never came. Lost my best friend, and that crushed me because I didn't know what happened, how it happened. I didn't get any of the details. Our family was very closed off with that, which I understood. Um, but right after her, the guy that I was dating, um, not even 3 months later, he had a tragic accident that left him with a traumatic brain injury and as a paraplegic. And have
Mm.
you ever had to grieve someone that is still alive?
Hmm. That's a
You
different type of grief.
That's a different type of
That's a
grief.
different type of grief.
That
Hmm.
is totally different.
Hmm.
Um, Grieving him and finding out the things that were hidden from me because one thing he didn't do, he didn't bring it to my doorstep, but he wasn't a saint.
Hmm.
And it didn't start to come out until after the
Yeah.
exit. Everything was being revealed. And have you ever had to pray for someone and in the same sentence you want to kill them too?
Yeah. 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 Oh yeah. Oh yes. Yes.
That is different. That's a whole different
Ooh.
type of grief there.
Yeah.
And once again, I had no one to lean on through that
Hmm.
process. I had to just go through it.
Hmm.
And my brother, um, my brother James, I saw a different side of him because he called me every single day. He prayed for me when I couldn't pray for myself. He was
Hmm.
like, he was, and he wasn't even in the city, but he was holding his sister up.
Hmm. Hmm.
And
A praying
only,
brother.
man, and
Yeah.
only to be taken away from me that November. So literally, I'm going through this
So
with,
this is 2019.
this is 2020.
Okay, so we went
So
from 2015 to within a 5 year span.
yeah, so 2019, no, 2019 was when my house caught fire, moved back here, got settled. I lost my best friend February of 2020. I lost
Mhm.
Mario May 19th of 2020, and then my brother November the 2nd of 2020.
Let's talk
And
about Mario.
Mario, he was it. He was the guy. He was the guy. He was my best friend. We did everything together. He was there with me caring for my grandfather. He was a tremendous help with caring for my grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
We were planning to get married.
Mm.
Um, and you have to pay attention to the signs.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be aware of the signs and the wonders because I got signs with my grandma that she was leaving this earth, but I didn't pay attention and I didn't realize it until after I recalled everything. Um, and I got signs with Mario that he something was about to occur. But I spoke on it with him and you know, it happened. He was hit by a car,
Mm.
which left him with bleeding on the brain. So he had to have surgery, have his brain skull removed, and they didn't even give him a 2% chance of living. But I convinced his parents to give him a fighting chance. They wanted to pull the plug on him. I give him a fighting chance, and he pulled through. I stayed in that hospital every day, sun up to sundown. It was COVID time, so you only had one visit a day. I was there 8 a.m. sharp every morning. Visiting hours over at 8 p.m. If he had a rough day, they would let me spend the night. I was there. And
Mm. Woo, that's heavy.
yeah, that took a lot out of me and my children because my children loved him. They loved that man. They still love him. Um, and so getting that phone call about my brother, I'll never forget it. I have so much. I have guilt with that because my mom, she just adamantly was like, "I'm going to see my son," and this was like in October. And I'm like, okay. So we planned to go, but then I bagged out because I had to work. So her, my children, and my aunt went. And they went, and it was the Halloween weekend. They went down to see my brother, and I didn't know how things was flowing, but it wasn't flowing right. Some
Right.
things going on in his household with him and his girl at the moment. And so he was mad at me because I didn't come, but we talked, and then we talked on FaceTime and he was good. We was good. And my mom and them came home that Sunday night. They came home November the 1st. It was a Sunday night. And my brother was deceased Monday night at 10:21.
Take a minute.
Now, we talked on the phone at 3 p.m. He was like, we were talking, laughing and joking, and he was like, I'm gonna call you back when I get home, big kid. I said, okay. He said, I love you. I said, I love your stank ass too.
Mm.
That was our terms of endearment for each other. And he said, I'll be home before mama's birthday. I said, okay. He came home before mama's birthday, but it was not the way that we anticipated.
Mm.
And I have a hard time with him, so I do want to breathe because I'm feeling
Yeah.
myself getting emotional because it's
It's
still
okay to get emotional. It's a safe place. And I get it. I get it. I,
Tracy that took my soul.
yeah.
All my life it's been him and me.
Mhm.
My mom only had two children. That was my everything, like that was my brother, Miney and Keisha, Keisha and Miney. That's how our families referenced us. They call both our names at the same time. Um, to see my brother change and evolve and to be the man that he had become. And he was not just my brother, he was my baby. Because when everything went wrong with him, I was the one he called to fix it. You know,
Hmm. You a big sis.
I'm big sis.
Mhm.
And not knowing what happened, that adds more layers of grief.
Yeah.
So I remember leaving my mom's house that night. My mom stayed right across the street from me. And I had just left my mom's house, came in the house, had enough time to go in my room, do something, and start my bath water. And I hear my mama footsteps running up the stairs. Now I know my mama footsteps, but she running. And by the time I make it to the door, and opened the door. She beat on the door, and I opened the door, and she just screamed out, "My son dead." What? It didn't register, you know. So
Mhm.
she collapsed to the floor, and I grabbed the phone, and the detective repeated everything to me, and once again I couldn't grieve because I had to be strong. My daughter collapsed. My mom collapsed. I have another child screaming, you know.
Mhm.
Um, it was just a lot to take in that moment, and I still can replay that moment as if it's still happening. But not to get the answers that we desired, what happened, and it was so complex because the people who were there couldn't give us straight answers, so we never got a true story of what happened because every time we got the story changed.
Mhm.
You know? The police did not do a proper investigation. Why? Because my brother was a black man with a record.
Mhm.
No one ever went to the police station to be questioned. They were questioned at the house. Statement was given. That was that they moved my brother's body, which automatically should have been the reason that they would have been transported because that's messing with evidence. They moved
Mhm.
my brother's body, put a pillow under his head, and put a blanket over him. The
Yeah, that's
shell
definitely
casing,
tampering with evidence.
exactly. The shell casing was never discovered in the house, and it was a lot. And then to have to dealing with one detective who is empathizing with the family who ordered the autopsy. They don't order autopsies unless they feel like it could be foul play. Um, only to be told get through the services and we will connect after that. Well, when I after the services, I connected with a whole different detective who did not he was racist. Let me just be blunt and frank about it. Racist.
Mhm.
He did not want to work the case. I tried to give him evidence. He told me he didn't have the funds to delegate towards the evidence, and it was a lot. I fought tooth and nail to just get somebody to hear us when it
Mhm.
came down to my brother's case. And ultimately it just got to the point where I had to leave it alone because my mental sanity depended on it. Um, I couldn't go to the store. I couldn't be around people. I didn't trust anybody.
Yeah.
Anxiety was through the roof. Luckily, my children were of age where they could drive.
Mhm.
So they had to do grocery shopping, going to pay bills, you name it. Like my girls held me down because I couldn't even get out. I couldn't come out the house.
Yeah. Yeah. You were you were done.
I was done. And
Yeah.
so to add matters to that, um, New Year's Eve, I'm sitting on the phone with my cousin, who was also my brother's best friend, and we're reminiscing about my brother. He's spending his New Year's Eve, him and his wife, on the phone with me, consoling me. And 8 days later, he's taken from me.
Take a minute, sweetie.
Um, he was taken, never solved, and to know him was to know him is to know that he didn't deserve it. That
Mhm.
just was not his character at all. He was a working man. He may come to our neighborhood we grew up, pick with his friends and go home,
Mhm.
you know. So I definitely know that his case was mistaken identity, you know.
Mm.
But oh, but we buried him on a Saturday. And I attempt to go back to work on Monday. And my daughter is 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. My daughter's screaming, and I'm like, I can't take no more. What's going on? And she like, Mom, is this John's car? John is my other brother. So I get the phone, I look at the news article, and I drop the phone because I it looks just like his car. So I call my dad, and I'm like, Dad, are you watching the news? Is that John's car? And then I hear his mom scream to the top of her lungs, and I knew it was my brother. And that was my other brother. So literally, like, I didn't get to breathe. I didn't get to breathe. It was like, what is next? Um, John definitely still hits me hard too because I still hold a lot of grief because I feel like I failed my brothers by
Mm,
not getting their justice.
mm.
So I'm still navigating through that.
So you're experiencing what we call survivor's guilt.
Survivor's guilt.
Hmm.
Yes, survivor's guilt. Um,
Take a minute. That's a lot. Take a minute.
yeah.
Whew.
So John was murdered by the police here. Um, my brother reached out for help because he felt he had been laced through marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
And he started reaching out on a Thursday. So he went to the hospital. They sent him home to my dad's house. Um, my dad ended up calling the police throughout the weekend to try to get him some help because he was just paranoid. And there was nothing that my father could do because my brother was 20. So if he didn't voluntarily go, they couldn't force him to go. So he encountered the hospital, he encountered MPD, and then he drove himself to another police department on the outside of the city called Milton.
Mm-hmm.
And I have the the cam footage and everything. And so none of them really they told my brother to go back to MPD, Memphis. Um, but at this point I guess my brother had lost hope. He didn't trust anybody. And so he literally went parked on a dead end street to go to sleep. He parked in a cold correction to go to sleep in his car. And they, unbeknownst to us, they had put a bolo out on his car, um, saying that he was armed and dangerous. And so when the police approached him, he was in flight or fight because he was out of his mind. And he took off, but he didn't become aggressive. He was running from y'all, but he didn't come aggressive. Um, and so they followed him to a dead end street. And as he turned around, and I have video footage of all of this that I'm giving you. Um, you hear my brother, they're ramming his car. SWAT is on the scene now. Now, why wasn't crisis intervention called? You have a lot of steps before you get to SWAT.
That part, yeah.
SWAT is on the scene and they're ramming his car. And on the loudspeaker, you hear him talking about come out the car with your hands up, but you're ramming his car and he's not mentally there. So you're expecting him to surrender to you, but you keep ramming his car. And he's screaming, help, help, they're trying to kill me. He's screaming this to the top of his lungs. I have the video.
Mm-hmm.
And one officer decides to take one shot and took half of my brother's face off.
Ooh. Okay. Let's take a minute. Take a beat. Mm. You okay?
I'm good. I'm good. Um,
Whew, that's a lot. And
yeah,
we talk about everything, you and I, right?
yeah.
So this is the first time that I'm hearing all of this, right?
The details, yes. Because sometimes it's so hard to articulate my words.
Yeah.
But I feel it is necessary because people need to, for one, in John's case, people need to be aware of the signs. There needs to be laws in place to help family members get the assistance that they need to help their loved ones.
Mental health.
Yes. Um, thank you, sis. I really appreciate it.
Um, mm, I can't
Um,
even. I can't even. All these losses, right? And your brother. That's a lot. Um, what did all these losses? What did grief teach you about yourself? Because you sustained a lot and a lot of major people in your life. Like what did or what does grief teach you right now? Like in this moment where you are right now, in these emotions right now, what has grief taught you?
Grief has taught me a lot. Grief has shifted the trajectory of my life. Um, Grief has taught me that, yeah, you got to live life to its fullest. Grief has taught me a lot about myself. Um, my comfort wasn't found in religion.
Mm-hmm.
My comfort and my growth was actually found when I walked away from religion. Now, when I say I walked away from religion, people think I walked away from God. Absolutely not. I feel like my relationship now with God is stronger
Mm-hmm.
than it has ever been. But for me, I could not wrap my mind around that all of my people were just put here to suffer and to pass, and it just isn't. It
Touching my
didn't
arm.
resonate with me, right?
Touching my arm. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it didn't resonate with me, and so I went on a deep dive of life after death because
Mm-hmm.
I knew the soul didn't die.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even the Bible tells you that the soul lives forever. I
So
know that energy, the soul is energy, and I know that energy can't be destroyed. It can only transfer.
yeah.
So from that, um, I just went on a deep dive of trying to find my comfort and
Mm-hmm.
my understanding and not thinking about what the world had already told me, because if I thought about the things that the world had told me, I was gonna be next on the list, Tracy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I knew that I had to keep living. I just didn't know how.
Mm-hmm.
And so um when you go down a rabbit hole,
Yeah.
it'll take you there. And then I had a lot of back and forth because religion was deeply rooted in me.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of back and forth with myself, like, is God gonna get me from going down this rabbit? But this resonates with me. And ultimately, I just I surrendered. I let it go. I surrendered to my intuition, to my
Yeah.
heart, to what resonated with me. Um, and I sleep better at night now. And when I
So
say
can I
change,
ask you a question?
absolutely.
Since you're talking about like spirituality,
Hmm.
you have a question, God,
Absolutely.
like why the bargaining part of the
Absolutely.
stages of grief? Um,
Absolutely.
like what is this? Like what is my purpose? What is this, God? What is this? Do you ever have you ever been, you have had to be there, because
Mhm.
there's no, you know I don't even know, because everybody is different.
Yeah,
Everybody's faith is different. Everybody's questions are different. But you
absolutely.
ever have that candid conversation from your brothers, your grandmother, your
Hmm.
best friend, your auntie, any one of them, grandfather? Have you ever said, "Okay, God, what's up?" Like,
Oh, I was angry with God.
you were angry.
Oh,
Okay,
I was angry
okay,
with God. I was like, at this point, God ain't even real. This can't be like I was.
really?
Oh yes,
Oh
I was
wow.
angry with God, and then I went to. But I know that God is real. I
Hmm.
knew that God was real, so I
Hmm.
knew that I was angry. But how can you have an authentic relationship with
Hmm.
anybody, including God, and you can't question? It didn't make no sense to me. So I took all of the formalities off and I laid on my face and I talked to God like I'm talking to you.
Yes. Yes.
And the answers that were slowly revealed and given to me is why
Hmm.
I'm still here today. And I know that grief is my purpose and I ran from it. I
Yeah.
ain't want no dealings with grief, baby.
Yeah.
I don't want to think about this. I don't want to help nobody through something that I barely help myself.
I'm barely making it myself, and you want me, God, to go up to speak to the masses to
Yeah.
help others with grief. I know you lying. No, God, no,
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. Yes, yes, I
Exactly.
understand it.
But I had no idea that it was my purpose. It
Hmm.
was my purpose and for God to tell me um I couldn't walk in my purpose without experience. And that was hard
Hmm.
to digest.
Hmm.
That was hard to digest.
Hmm.
Um but I couldn't. I
Hmm.
couldn't not fully function in my purpose without the experiences. And also we have to really be honest and know that in the Bible tells you this. Your soul comes here with the assignment.
Hmm.
And I had to accept the fact that my brothers, my grandmother, my auntie, all of their souls came here with an assignment.
Hmm.
And they knew when they was getting out of here too.
Yeah, yeah, that
Yeah.
is true.
So
Whew, girl. I want to keep going, but I know we at that moment, but I got a few more questions I want to ask you, because I
absolutely.
know.
Look, this our platform. Come on.
Okay. How did you begin the shift from surviving to healing?
It was a choice. You have to make a
Patience.
choice. You have to make a choice, and I chose to live and heal. I didn't want to be stuck in. I can't even articulate the feelings that I had
Yeah.
in my grief, and I knew that that was not where I wanted to be stuck. And not only that, I watched my children,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew that I had to move forward in my grief in order to help them. My oldest daughter, I had to make her take a year off from work after my brothers because I asked my father not to let her watch that video, but she did. And I watched my daughter snap in front of me. I heard my daughter scream out and I watched life leave my baby eyes in the same second.
Mm-hmm.
She snapped mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to take her off of work. She lost all her hair. She couldn't sleep. She couldn't
Mm-hmm.
eat. Um, and I had to nurse my baby back.
Yeah.
But the only way for me to do that was I had to face my own grief.
Mm.
And so, um, my baby girl, she is more like me. She likes to hold it within, everything within. but
Yeah.
I'm literally watching the changes in my children. Like
Mm-hmm.
it, it didn't just affect me. It affected them. It affected my mom. My mom has not been the same. My mom, I'm still working with my mom. She doesn't address her grief. She hasn't addressed her grief.
You've said that to me before. You said that when we did the first love language, and she read. I think she read my story,
Yes.
and it's not easy when you bury your child. You know what I
No,
mean? It's not easy. It's not
no.
easy.
But I
So,
also know that I can't force healing on her.
mm-mm,
I just hope that what I am modeling will soon, be seen, felt, and heard by her.
mm-hmm,
Because you can't force healing on anyone.
no,
It's a conscious decision that a person has to make in order to start their healing journey with anything.
that's true.
Um, my nieces, this year, my brother's baby girl was with us, and she was 4 when her dad passed.
Mm-hmm,
And so this year, she came home from school. She was here with me, and I'm like, "What's wrong, TT? You okay?" And she just broke down, and she was like, "Donuts for Dad is tomorrow, and I don't want to go because I don't have my dad." And I'm like, I'm lost.
mm-hmm.
Like, it's not just affecting me; it still affects my entire family.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I could just all I could do was hold her. But I'm grateful that my brother have friends like no other, because I
Mm-hmm.
reached out
And they showed up.
and they showed up.
Yep.
And
That's what having a good support system in a community will do for you. They will show up when you can't show up for yourself.
yes.
Believe me. I have held back tears this whole time. I have. I thank you for your rawness. Right. Um, Part of the story I didn't know. You know. And so on this grief journey, we have a lot of people that don't know what to say, or um, they don't know what to say, basically. So how do you correct them? Sometimes I don't even correct people. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Because
this is my favorite part of the subject, huh?
listen, let's do it. It's my favorite part of the hunch punch. Let's do it.
Yes.
What do people misunderstand about grief that you want to correct?
Oh, first and foremost, I know y'all mean well.
Speak on it.
I know y'all mean well,
Speak on it.
but it's time to let those cliche statements go because they're more harmful than helpful. Um,
Hmm.
when someone loses someone and they're trying to process their loss, don't nobody need you in their face talking about God makes no mistakes.
Hmm.
Time heal our wounds.
Hmm.
It's gonna be okay. This person has literally had an emotional death, spiritual death, right along with the person that they lost, because they will no longer be the person that they were before the loss.
Hmm.
So the best thing that you can do for anyone is simply come and sit by their side and be quiet.
And
Okay?
be quiet.
And be quiet. If they want to talk to you, they gonna talk to you. If you want to rub them on the back, that's okay too. But it's time to let and I know that the intentions behind the statements, they mean well. But those statements don't help. They do more
No,
harm than good.
no, my whole attitude shifted. Like, don't touch me. Number one,
Mhm.
don't. If I don't want to be touched, don't touch me.
Mhm.
Number two, please don't tell me um, what's the main one time heals all wounds.
Mm.
First of all, when you sit at the table and you preparing your meal and that child is still coming to the table. Don't tell me how to feel because I got two empty seats at the table. You understand what I'm saying? So don't
Yes.
tell me time heals all wounds because those were my kids, right? Those were your
Mhm.
brothers. Those were you don't you still got your brothers. You still got your
Definitely.
grandmother. You still got your
Yes.
grandfather. You still got your favorite auntie. You
Yes.
still got your kids. So until you walk a mile in the shoes, then be quiet.
Be quiet.
Be quiet. Be
And
be
and
be
God makes no mistakes. First of all,
First of all, let's be
God don't
clear.
make no mistakes, but let's talk about it because we seem to only give only want to talk about the devil when it's an excuse or um when it's beneficial.
Hmm.
But let's talk about it. There's good and bad in everything, and everything ain't on God. Okay?
Speak on it.
So,
Speak on it.
once again, like Tracy said, if you have not walked in those shoes, please don't tell nobody how to feel. Please don't tell nobody what God and did or ain't did, or sometimes it's more harmful.
Hmm.
Because when people kept telling me God don't make no mistakes, out of y'all was pulling me more, they were pulling me farther and farther away, making
Yeah.
me more angrier with God than healing. It wasn't healing to me.
Yeah. It wasn't. It wasn't. You know. I didn't get angry with God. Of course, I asked questions though.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, I got angry. Yeah.
the questions was like, okay, God, what now? You know what I mean? Like, what's up with this?
Mhm.
Your story is amazing,
But I
right?
got angry, and let me say this: I didn't get angry with God because of what happened.
Hmm.
I was angry because I didn't understand.
Hmm. There's a difference.
It's a difference. And that's because I was still holding on to that religious teaching of not questioning God. But
Hmm.
when I released myself from that and I asked the questions, I mean, I was able to release that anger that should have never been there in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah. So, how do you honor your loved ones?
Oh, girl, I love honoring my loved ones. I
Okay.
honor my ancestors because they paved the way for me. I
Hmm.
honor my ancestors because have you ever seen that movie? Is it Coco? The Disney movie? I want to say it's Coco, but
Now you're gonna have me go and find Coco on
so
TV.
they have the ancestor altar and they have the pictures up and they honor their ancestors. But one is slowly fading away in spirit because his picture is not on the altar because they're not saying his name, they're not remembering him, they're not honoring him. And so that movie touched me because I feel as though my loved ones legacy, their memories will forever live on because I'm gonna forever speak their names. I'm
Names.
gonna
Hmm.
forever honor their names. And so I light candles. I write letters to them. I have journals that I write the things out that I want to say to them.
Hmm.
Of course, we do balloon releases at times.
Hmm.
Um, my brother I'm planning a whole Wayne Dang Doodle for my brother's 40th birthday to honor his legacy. He's not here to celebrate it, but we gonna turn up for it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that everyone has to do this, but this is what helps me
Yeah.
in my grief.
Yeah.
So I would tell anybody, you find the things that help you bring a smile to your face because people don't understand. And I want to really say this, your grief is your expression of love for
Mhm.
your loss.
Yes. Yes.
That is what your grief is. It's your way of expressing your love for your loss.
Hmm.
And so, baby, I mm, my brother likes shots. I might pour a shot and set it out and be like, brother, it's for you. You know,
It's for you. Yeah.
it's for
Yeah.
you.
I,
So,
I today it was it's an honor to honor my son.
Yes.
and talk to you um, today.
Because you're the
It,
most beautiful girl in the world.
I do what I can, but
Yeah.
it needed to be done. People needed to hear your story because you're always behind the scenes. Like you're always the behind the scene girl, So and to know you is to love you, right? But
Well, for most,
I mean, I was getting ready to say something, but I'm like, Lord, I'm saved. I'm not gonna say that. We're not gonna say because I was getting ready to go. I was getting ready to go there, but no, you are loved by many.
yes,
Understand that, and your journey is amazing, and the things that you pour into others, and um, the movement, because it's a movement.
mhm,
It's not just we're gonna do this. We're gonna do it. It's a movement, and you help people get in touch with things they probably didn't know that they needed to get in touch with. You pushed me. You didn't even know how much you pushed me. Um, and anything that you asked me to do project wise, I'm on it because like you unleashed this this writer who's just out. You got to keep going. You got to keep healing people because there's pain from your pain. There's purpose.
yeah,
And it's amazing to see what healing looks like. You know,
yes,
healing by choice
yes.
because
And so it's a never ending
I couldn't
journey.
sit and talk to you maybe 3 4 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, healing was a choice, and part of my story sitting by myself for 2 years. I had to sit,
Yeah.
and sitting with yourself is the hardest thing on the planet.
Man,
But
that silence is loud.
that silence is downright disrespectful. It's disrespectful.
It is.
Silence is disrespectful, but you're doing it and you're helping others.
And
And
it's
like,
never ending. So I want people to give themselves grace
mhm,
because yeah, I have gotten to this point, but it took me a long time to get
mhm,
here, and I had to make sure that I gave myself grace. And I'm hard on myself, so it's hard for me to give myself grace, but I have to remind myself to do so. And know that feeling your grief, it's okay. It's
mhm.
gonna come in waves. Tracy, you still have days of crying. Am I correct?
Huh?
You still have days where you cry, correct?
I cried this morning.
Thank you. I still have my moments. So
Mm,
just because I am a grief coach and this is my purpose doesn't mean that that stops my experience.
mhm,
It doesn't. I still deal with my grief on a daily basis. I heard a song the other day and had to pull over because my eyes were just soaking wet because I
mhm,
miss my brothers in the physical.
mhm,
I miss my grandmama. Man, I miss eating food off her fingers. Like,
mhm,
I miss my people so much. I miss them. And that's a part of my experience,
mhm,
you know. Um, but just know that you can make the conscious decision to learn how to get the tools and the skills you need to grieve and cope in a healthy way because your grief is never going to end.
mhm.
That love ain't going nowhere.
It
Right.
grief never ends, but it shifts.
It shifts.
It shifts when you shift.
Exactly.
So if you don't shift,
It's not
that
going
moment you're in, it's gonna be that moment until you shift, right?
exactly.
And that was the most powerful thing that I had to learn in
Mhm.
my grieving journey is it shifted when I shifted. It
Absolutely.
shifted when I did the work, losing Terrell and benching my own grief to get my 16-year-old through losing his brother, right?
Mhm.
And then losing Taekwon, and then a year later losing my dad. You know what I'm saying? Like all of
Mhm.
that together. So like you had to do. I had to grieve my son and my dad.
And I let's talk about something else before we go. Because this is a part I'm actually getting ready to take a certification on being a deaf doula.
I'm sorry.
A deaf doula.
Okay.
And so I want to talk about this because this is a very important part of my story that we didn't touch on. My grandfather, his transition, and to witness it and to experience it with him.
I was
Um,
going to ask you about your grandfather, but we got shifted into something else. So tell that story before we go.
um, my grandfather, when he got ready to transition, he told me he was about to transition. And a lot of times they will hold on because they know that you're not ready, but he was ready to go. And he was adamant about it. He was like,
I'm
I'm
ready to
ready to
go.
get out of here.
Mhm.
And I'm like, mm. And he said it again. And I said, you know what? It's okay if you answer the call. Because he kept telling me that his mom was calling.
Mhm.
Um, and, his mom had been deceased. And I'm like, it's okay to answer her call. And he looked at me, he smiled, and he started to transition. And
Mhm.
I sat there with my grandfather 10 days. 10 days, Tracy, and had to watch my grandfather transition out of this world for 10 days. Me and my oldest daughter, see, she has a calling on her life that she ain't yet tapped into yet, but it's
Mhm.
coming. And my kids tried to go to work. They tried to keep themselves busy. Um, but I took a moment in the restroom and I broke down. I think we were on day 3, day 4, and my daughter came in the restroom and she said, "You can't do this alone. I'm not leaving you." And so
Mhm.
she took off from work and she didn't leave my side. Um, Before he started to transition, um, I could feel the energy, the presence of spirit in my house, you know. I even have a picture that I had night vision on, as well as I got the original picture and I had it to be put in night vision. You can see the spirits in my house. So there is life after death,
Mhm.
and you ain't telling me nothing different. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, but to watch my grandfather transition, I think it was more hurtful for me in the physical because I'm thinking he in pain. He wasn't in no pain.
Mhm.
He did get his burst of energy, and he asked me for ice cream,
Mhm.
his favorite. And of course, I couldn't give him ice cream, but I did get the opportunity to take the ice cream on my finger and rub it on his lip,
Mhm.
you know. And he left me that night, but before he left, um, my daughter said, "Mom, it's quiet. It's getting quiet in here." We were in there with him, and we had dozed off. I had dozed off. And she said, "It's getting quiet in here." And I said, "It's getting quiet." And when I realized what I said, I jumped up. And before I made it to his bed, you saw twinkles of light come out. And he took his last breath.
Mhm.
That was his soul.
Going it.
His
Yeah.
soul enters through your crown and
Mhm.
exit. That was his soul. He was going back, and he took his last breath, and I was able to close his eyes. And I didn't cry immediately. I started
Mhm.
to sing to my grandfather, and I got a cloth and kind of wiped his face and, just held his hand. And my daughters, they were, on the other side of the bed, and I just started singing, "I am free" to him. And we were okay.
Mhm.
We were okay. To watch that experience, it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was a lot. It was
Mhm.
hard, but it was something that I needed to see.
Mhm.
Um, it gave me a better understanding of death and the transition.
Yes.
And I don't fear death
Mhm.
anymore. Death used to paralyze me. when I
Mhm.
thought about it. I no longer fear death. Um, but just to see that it was an amazing experience that I'm grateful that I was able to share with my grandfather.
Yeah.
Um, but when they took him across that threshold, when they exited my house with him, that's when it hit me like a ton of bricks, me and my daughter, and I lost it. Because the minute he went across that threshold, my house got cold
Mhm.
and lonely. And I think I stayed there maybe another 30 days and I had to move. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Um, I just couldn't do it. So that was an amazing experience. And when I think about my grandfather, I grieve him because I miss him,
Yeah.
but I got so many memories. So when I think about him, and most of the time, it's in joy
Mhm.
and laughter because he was a
Mhm.
jokester. Um, it's not as hard, or I guess because I feel like I fulfilled my assignment with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it you can grieve everyone differently. Don't mean I loved any of them any less, but each one of my experiences, each one of my loved ones, I grieved all of them differently.
Mhm. Each one is a different relationship too.
Yes.
So there's different feelings. So no death is the same. You're
No.
not gonna grieve one less. You know what I mean? So I get it. I
Mhm.
understand it.
Even with my brothers, I love my both of my brothers, but I grieve both of them totally different.
Totally different. Yeah. Me too.
Well, it's been such a pleasure tonight. I'm grateful that you pulled this out of me. Otherwise, the world would have never got it.
Girl, you are simply amazing. We
Mhm.
love you. I love
Thank
you.
you. I love you
Thank
too.
you for opening up your heart
Yeah.
and just letting it flow. And it was so many other questions, but you were answering them through your responses. So I didn't even have to ask you certain things. I didn't. You pretty much you know touched on every area that I needed you to touch on. So we got a glimpse into Miss Keisha.
Yeah.
We got a glimpse into your story,
I
and
will tell anyone, the best service that you can do yourself is being authentically you.
yeah,
That's it. That's all. Society has its own standards, and I
mhm,
don't live by them anymore. I'm sorry, I don't.
mhm,
But that was the best thing for me.
yeah,
I love hard. I go hard. If I'm doing it, my heart is in it, or I'm not doing it.
yeah.
The things that I
That's a
do,
true statement right there. If
yeah,
she ain't feeling it, she ain't doing it.
I'm not
Period.
gonna do it.
Mhm.
um, but if there is anyone who is struggling with grief and coping with grief, I'm here. I'm available. That's my ministry, as Tracy say.
That's my
That's
ministry. Yeah, that's what we do. We. Where can people reach you? I'm sure everybody knows how to reach you, how to get in touch with you. Talk about your books, all 10,000 of them on Amazon. um, so if there was someone that's watching out in cyberland and they going through grief for the first time, if they want to talk to you, and where can they reach you at? We all on the
absolutely.
same platform, so it's you
Yeah,
may you know somebody may be out there that can identify with losing some of the losses that you had.
yeah. Well, I'm taking a little hiatus from a lot of things, so I would say the best way, yeah, to reach me would be to reach me via email, which is let's talk grief with Lakecia at gmail.com. Or you can simply dial my phone number. Um, and I'll leave Messenger up. So you can definitely DM me. If you're on YouTube and watching, comment. However you feel like you want to reach me, reach me. I'm available. Um, I don't really do Instagram Of course, my Facebook is Lakecia Lashun, and my TikTok. Now you'll catch me in TikTok land. I love TikTok, and that's Keisha Sacredly Blooming or author Lakecia Lockridge. It's the same page.
Gotta say it. You
Yeah, it's
gotta
the
say
same.
it.
It's the same page. So I'm here. Um,
Mhm.
I'm here. Don't be afraid to reach out. No judgment zone here. No judgment zone. So if you're ready to make that conscious decision to take the next step so that you can breathe a little lighter, I'm here. Mm. Oh, and I do have a journal. It's called Remember, Rise, and Reflect 90 Days of Honoring and Healing with Your Ancestors. So check it out.
That's book number 10,001. There we go. No, just joking. Just joking.
Yeah.
Just joking. Just joking.
Yes.
I hope to see you uh in 2 weeks. We'll talk about that off the air.
Yeah, we'll talk about that off the air. I definitely got to make my way back. I'm trying to think of something now to do with my mom for Mother's Day.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I just need to celebrate my baby. But
We'll
yeah,
figure it out. We'll
um,
figure it out.
so I might slide that way. I don't know.
Come on through. I'll be here.
All right. Well, I love you, and
I
this has
love
been
you too.
another episode of Let's Talk Grief. Oh, one more thing before we tap out, because I'm about to tap out. If you are interested in telling your story, hey, beautiful. If you're interested in telling your story, if you want to share your story or just have a conversation, hit me up.
Hit
I'm
me
here.
up. Hit me up. Hit me up.
All right. You guys have a great night.
Good
Good
night.
night.